Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Connor.
This is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, our second game this week actually does in fact feature some Germans. Rang, we're back in Ocean North, and what are we seeing?
Left hand side in the blue, we have Matoosh playing 11% with a Maverick income. Right hand side in red, we have Tanner playing first Polish Armoured with a Maverick income as well.
So we actually haven't seen the Poles, I don't think, for quite a bit of time.
No, we have not. They've not really been in the pole position of our replays.
You know, I was wondering when we get that joke, and I thought I'd be the one to say it, but I'm pretty happy to hear it from you, sir. But, we are seeing, like I said, back on Ocean North, after Tuesday, you know, people came out, they swept aside the wrecks of tanks, they kind of dumped everybody into those, you know... Well, I'm not going to finish that thought, but we're going to go and actually have more fighting on here today. So, Nordland versus Pacherno, how does that go? I mean, the light vehicles of Nordland, does that match up well against Pacherno?
I don't know actually. Pacherno has the shirts and lots of chrome rails available to him, but essentially 11% is going to be more infantry spam, and the Pacherno is going to be more, well, Pacherno spam, I guess. I mean, you're seeing up north, Matoosh is going really hard on that hill. He is going to be booking in there hot and heavy, the 2-3 runs, and holy crap, he killed a 6-pounder, and the Panzer Grenadiers are going to make it in.
But you know what? I think that's exactly what you need to do, especially with Nordland. And to the far north, these guys are dead.
Oh, down south here, I mean, Tan's gonna be returning the favor of his Polish battle group. That's so many goddamn tanks and infantry, man, and Matoosh has nothing worthwhile on that hill. This is already getting pretty nuts when we're not even 2 minutes in.
And that is, I think, the thing that I'm kind of excited about, is that, first of all, these Cromwells, these aren't the Valentine tanks of other divisions. That they actually have some speed here, and we have both, let's call it, main battle tank Cromwells, as well as these artillery Cromwells. How do you feel about rotating these Cromwells back around?
Yeah, it's an interesting call, actually, rotating the units. I mean, he definitely needs to try and stop this happening. I mean, look, the 2-3 runs bloody camping the spawn, yeah, he's gonna get killed. But he's gonna lose that momentum and pushing onto the hill, because only with the few rifles and the Morris, he's not gonna make all that much progress. So, it's we're gonna have to see how it plays out, really. Whether this defensive posture was worthwhile.
Absolutely. Some of the early MG Grenadiers, MG-26s, excuse me, are going to find themselves, I think, pretty much outgunned, which is very, very strange to say, that these Bren groups are beefier than those MG-26s, but I suppose it sort of makes a weird sort of sense.
Yes. And up north, we're seeing Tanner push a little bit with some Stuarts and carriers as well. Only one Panzer Grenadier, yeah, so that northern hill is going to fall into Tanner's hands.
Yeah, this is that uncomfortable moment in Fury where you have the 4 Shermans just lighting up the entire position with just MGs.
Yeah.
Yes, there's Stuarts, I get it, but the same weight of fire is just kind of coming out here, and just, you're not standing up to that.
Yeah, Matoosh is going to have a little bit of difficulty so early on trying to deal with this much armor. He doesn't have a whole lot of A-phase tanks, or A-phase anti-armor, like anti-tank gunners, so to speak, so... As a lot of Stuarts and a lot of Cromwells, he's going to have to blow his way through.
You know, I'm really struck by the way that this entire map, it's perversely kind of matched well in the territory they've gained. It's still a 12-12.
I know, and it's been very aggressive from both sides, really. But, you know, the center push from Matoosh is starting to get pushed back a bit. But Tanner's starting to push pretty heavy on the flanks.
Indeed, looking down to the south real quick, yep, Puma, MG-34. That should be enough to kind of solidify things in the eastern flank.
Yeah.
Wait, what's this Puma? Oh, the Puma's aiming at the Piats. Yeah, those guys are dead.
I think the nice thing about 11th against the Poles in this case is, unlike Soviets, there's not a whole lot of anti-tank rifles you have to worry about. Or really anti-tank on the infantry. I mean, you got Piats, but... You know, it's a Piat. It's going to take 5 shots to hit. But anyway, that means those light armored vehicles are going to be pretty damn good.
So long as you can keep guys at range. Because, you know,
yes.
a Piat, like a broken watch, is still effective twice a day.
You have to time it right. It's like, oh, Nigel, it's not 3:30 yet. We can't fire.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, we missed it.
That's...
Why? We're not. This is set to Greenwich time. Oh, okay.
Oh, I guess we'll wait till after tea time. God.
Can we just talk about the fact that within, what, a 200-meter radius circle on that northern hill, if there's any way the Germans could drop any kind of off-map on it, that would be absurd. Obviously, can't happen here. But, he's lucky that there's really no artillery to make him pay for that.
Yeah, and this has been an absolute banger of the first 5 minutes. I'm loving this replay so far. And we're just seeing a really aggressive play here from Tanner. And he still has such a scary armoured force on this hill. This, like, defensive group, which has been repositioned here, has managed to deal with most of the threats. And he's actually in a very good position to push through the northern flank here and capture that town, because there's nothing really in the town.
That's true, but there's still a couple of cheeky pickoffs that could happen. We did see... that was the Puma, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the 231 facing east. But we do have MG Grenadiers that... The Strotki... Kiats... maybe... Yeah, never mind. The surprise is gone. But that could have been awful to have the Cromwells get picked off, or at least one of them picked off. That would have been at least more than enough to make the Peakren backlines more than worthwhile.
Yeah, Matoosh really needs to try and gear this like engagement more to his favour, and really just needs to fight in more infantry focused areas, because he can definitely wipe the floor with the pose when it comes to a head-on infantry fight, but with all his armoured support backing up Tanner right now, he definitely has the advantage.
True. Tannerite would certainly cause a lot of hassles over here for these guys, but Puma in the meantime, gonna engage some of these Cromwells, getting a little bit closer. Unfortunately, the Puma has had a bizarre lack of accuracy. There we go. At least he puts it on target. And at long last, yep. Okay. Your Ju-87 making some gun runs. This has potential.
Yeah, he's gonna really need to make the most out of that aircraft.
Okay. Lackluster there.
We also have one of Tanner's carriers managed to make it all the way to the enemy rear line here. Not going to be all that effective in sniping anything, but, you know, give him a little bit of eyes on if he does maneuver it.
Oh, eyes on for sure, but even more so, at least giving just that potential chance of like, oh yeah, I'm going to force one squad of infantry out a little bit earlier. Ooh, Shug. There's a Shug on the map, and he is starting to really lock himself in. Not enough to really do a whole lot about that northern Cromwell push, but he at least could pick off some of the boys' carriers over here.
Honestly, yeah, he needs more Stug. I was saying maybe he could get a Panther, but yeah, Stug really would be enough to deal with this threat. But it's a lot of armoured targets and just infantry and machine guns he's going to have to get through. This is like a Polish death ball right here.
It's a Polish death ball, yes, but when you have things like the Ju-87 making runs at the rear, he still cannot penetrate. Jeez.
Oh, no, he's just strafing run, Khan. He's not the anti-tank run.
No, but you can even get a lucky, I would think a lucky hit or two from the rear.
Oh, it's only HC damage. It's going to take like one or
Lord.
two, I know, it's going to take one or two strafing runs.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you throw enough bullets at something, eventually something has to work. But regardless, we are going to see Pack 40 to the north take out the Stuart. And the other, the Zis basically captured.
Oh, we're seeing a Panther.
Taken.
All the way up north, that's... Okay, he's going to be
Yes.
repositioning that more towards the south. And that's going to be a pretty good angle. Same for that Pack 40 to start picking off these Cromwells in the rear here. As he needs to pick those guys off so he can get his infantry back into that town. But here's the Mozzie.
Going after exactly the right target, going after the Pack 40. There we go.
Good kill, and there's not a whole lot of Pack 40s in that deck, only an A phase and a B phase card. And that's really it in terms of heavy anti-tank heavy anti-tank gun, anti-tank weaponry. It's a bit of a mouthful now that I think about it. I probably could have said it in a more succinct manner.
But you know what? That's why we love you anyway. Ju-87 does buy the farm. Not too surprisingly, there's a Spitfire on the field. And the Panther D continues to be frustrated of targets.
Yeah. too many to pick from.
Yeah, which is kind of a bizarre issue to have. Pack 40 as well, not being given a huge chance to really go and be super effective here.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed competes with the Panther to kill a scout car. Well done, lads. That is worth a medal right there.
We're seeing the Cromwells actually pull back in, and I think he's going to relocate them up north to try and get a little bit of momentum, which is actually really interesting to seeing someone actually relocate their tanks. You don't see it. People just kind of attack head on until they die.
But I think that's kind of a necessity. Ooh, Focke-Wulf is potentially going to get a kill here on that Spitfire. Yeah, I don't really... Ooh, this is a very, very strange thing for this year, where the Mosquito is also going to be sent on into dogfight, which I'm not sure I really agree with, per se.
Pretty good if it can get, like, head on or behind the Focke-Wulf, as it is actually a pretty scary armament, but...
Yeah, but when the thing is, he's got to get into a great position that every pilot wants, or a 50-50, head on. That's not generally where I would hope to be as a fighter pilot. So, I don't know. I know it's an unpopular view, perhaps, but I'm sticking with it. Down to the south, MG-34s and more P-Grants being sent on in. In fact, wait, 2 groups of them. So some with MG-26s and some with much heavier armament with the 34s. So, yeah. B team preparing the way, A team coming up behind.
We also have that Firefly in the southern town as well, a little bit of heavier anti-tank now. Now we are in the B phase, both sides are just going to be ramping up the armament productions, and we're just going to be seeing even more spam.
Which is good. I've never really been a fan of spam myself, but I hear that there's some people who swear by it.
I'm more of a corned beef guy.
Really?
Yeah. Corned beef and hash is a pretty good meal, not gonna lie.
That certainly seems to be an interesting staple for you, sir. But I'm not gonna yuck your yum. So, looking back to the north, we are gonna see half-tracks getting picked off one by one. 231's kind of starting to engage, even though Stewart there, and the Stewart should be able to kind of kill. Indeed, we have to see some spalling going on. Yep, there we go. And all is right with the world.
You're also seeing that 17 pound here, which is definitely going to be a good threat against that Panther, if the Panther does decide to move up. But so far, Tanner's in a pretty good position. He's managed to almost capture the northern town. He's got a pretty good defensive position down south, especially with a whole heap of Cromwells being brought in. If he can just keep spamming Cromwells and CQC, he'd be in a pretty good position, really, as there's not enough anti-tank here from Matoosh to deal with this.
Well, we are going to see another Panther being brought in, but he's being brought in a little bit further to the north. And some of these Polish troops are coming in the open, and that's going to be a bit of a hassle too.
Bit of a dangerous position for them.
Now, to be fair, there still are Sextons, and these guys, as well as this mortar, are going to cause some right old havoc on the front lines.
Yeah, that's honestly a really good call-in, because he can use that to snipe those pesky Pack 40s, and there's not a whole lot of them he needs to kill.
True.
I think, yeah, it's really just coming down to the southern push here. The Cromwell platoon are making their way forward. All the German infantry is retreating back. Tanner just needs a little bit more infantry, I feel like, to really solidify his push. Those rifle Piat are pretty pants in the anti-infantry department. Once again, probably a more sufficient way to say that, but we're just going to keep rolling.
Indeed. Stug being brought on into the pack, being brought on into the south. Unfortunately, it's a 45 mil, so I don't know that's going to have the right power to get through all of the stuff that's attacking.
Yeah, I think it does have the potential to, but not in a reliable manner. And he needs reliable shot after shot after shot kill against those Cromwells, because there's a lot of them.
Yep, and I think that a fair way to put it is when you're looking at the 45 mil, if the thought is, yeah, I could do it, it's not going to be the right weapon system.
Yeah. I'm seeing more artillery here from the Saxon Pound in the Rain. Tanner just has really good momentum down south. He has that all-important +1 point advantage, but really time is not going to be too important in this match, considering both are Mavericks.
Yep. Yep.
Only one can be Mavericker. Or the Maverickist.
You're right. There can be only one.
Liado.
Oh, yes. I didn't even see where he dropped, but there we go. And destroys the trees, but doesn't really get a whole lot of kills.
I thought I was going to drop on the Morrises, because that probably would have been a good kill, but great micro air from Tanner.
Exactly.
Spreading out his tanks in the nick of time to avoid any nasty scratches on those Cromwells. And we are seeing a snug 3G here, but that's not going to be enough by himself. It's going to be safety in numbers for the Cromwells. You know, he has managed to split them up for the time being, so maybe he can pick up his run at the front. But even then, it's not... I don't think that snug 3G is long for his world.
Especially not when he takes forever in a day to shoot, but he might get another shot off. No. Very, very gutsy play. Not sure I'd really be quite that aggressive with an assault gun, especially when I'm outnumbered as heavily as I am. 231, though, is similarly being rushed into the fray. Will he go after the Morris? And the answer to that is no. He thinks it's better to shoot at those ground pounders, which is, again, another interesting call.
Yep. And we're just seeing the whole horde here of Tanner's infantry. It's really coming down once again to the medium armor support. Those Cromwells are pretty decent spam tanks at only 50 bloody points. Damn, that's actually really good for the price.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Fast too. That's actually one of the real nice things about the Cromwell, especially on a map like this, as we saw in the center, how fast he managed to redeploy that force up to the northern hill.
Mm-hmm.
That can definitely help out quite a bit.
Taking a quick little peek over here to other parts of the battle space. Oh, never mind. No, don't care. Ardo coming back in. Gonna level the farm.
Right by it when you can level it.
For free! Sort of. Yep, there we go.
No, doing some quick renovations.
Well, you know what they say. I mean, the first step in any kind of reno is demo.
That's true. That's very true.
Man, I've watched my HGTV. I know what that is. And yeah, the Cromwells realized that, you know, they have some other guys maybe to take care of a little bit later. Of course, there's still these Morrises, and these Morrises are surprisingly well armed for being basically a taxi for bullies.
Yeah, honestly, it shouldn't have survived this one because they are pretty terrible. They're only 15 points, which makes up a bit, but the main thing is it's just not a whole lot of anti-armor here from Matoosh. Like, Matoosh can't even get into Panzerfaust range effectively of his MG26 Panzergren spam, and he doesn't have enough anti-tank guns or really cheap medium tanks. You can get Stugs, but as we see, it's very hard to get Stug in a good position on the flanks here just because it's so CQC.
Yep. Mozzie, in the meantime, comes up north, takes out that Pack 40, which means that it's going to be very, very hard to expect anything out of that Panther D. As more and more infantry just gets thrown at it from every direction.
Yep, the Apaches getting a bit ballsy trying to cross over the open field, but they're going to be forced back. But, oh, the Cromwell flank!
And that's embarrassing.
The plight of heavy tanks in Steel Division 2. Well, Steel Division 2 1v1s. Team games, it's a different manner. But a good flank here from the Cromwells.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
JU-87 takes out a Morris. Well done. He has totally justified his existence by wasting 1,000 rounds of ammunition on a...
Eventually you got that kill.
Exactly. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's not the important thing. I killed him. It was by peeling the paint off his side, flake by flake, but I killed him.
Mm-hmm.
The 15-9, though, as P. Tanner over here, 14-10, excuse me, as Tanner gives up just a tiny bit of progress, nothing too huge.
Yeah, he's just done a really good job with the momentum. He's allowing it into... He's just managing to get the medium tanks on the north and southern hill flanks, and I mean the Cromwells work really well in those engagements. Oh, Ardo strike up north.
Yes, I feel like he's gonna get taken down with the Crusader. Yeah, tail damaged already.
Nope.
And doesn't really do as much as he might have hoped.
No, but you're seeing the Cromwells doing their cavalry charge into the town here. If they get a bit too ballsy, it could meet a Panzerfaust's fate. But that's a lot of Cromwells. I don't think there's enough Panzerfausts to really deal with that many.
True. True, and that reload time is kind of absurdly long when you think about it, since it was just a fire and forget, but whatever.
Maybe they forgot where they put it. Like, come on.
You know what? Maybe that's what it is. Or it's like that scene in Die Hard, you know, that grandest of Christmas movies where he drops around on the floor, has to go back and get it.
Yes.
Well, and the first guy meets a bad fate. And the MGs, though, of those Cromwells force back everybody else. But if this town goes, I think the entire flank goes. And I almost feel like Matoosh probably knows that as well. You can see right now, bring another Pack 40 behind the town. But Stroke's kind of in every single direction. There's going to be just one lone P-Gren squad just kind of chilling. And down to the south, Panther D charges in, and if this Morris takes it out, that is going to be sad.
That'd be really sad. But also pretty funny. But no.
And okay.
All is right with the road.
I was going to say left continues to make sense. Now the Piat, on the other hand, I can almost see this happening.
Bring out the Piat!
Yes, and you're still kind of limping our way to the front lines. There we go.
Get off!
Nope,
Oh no, no. He's just gonna engage the machine guns. How lame.
But Matoosh, not wanting to suffer the indignity of a kill via Panther, does drop out.
Yep, and rather standard 1000 KD different share.
Cromwell, 4 kills. Another Cromwell, picking up a Puma and a Panther, and a couple other kills. So yeah, Cromwell's, I would argue, being the reason for success here.
Yeah, they're really good medium tanks to spam. It was very interesting early on because Matoosh had that really good, aggression onto the hill. And with the light armored vehicles, he was doing well early on. But once he ran out of those light armored vehicles and lost a lot of his anti-tank, you can't really deal that well against the Polish tank division because they have a lot of tanks.
Exactly. And part of me wonders if that kind of early counterpunch, had it been delayed just a little bit, would that have been enough to change the northern theater?
If he could have gotten to that hill and hold it properly, it's still going to be a pretty tough ask because Tanner was starting to counterattack a bit on the flanks as well, and I think 11th SS was just not going to win that matchup. You need a German medium tank spam division to also fight against medium tank spam of the Poles.
And you know what? And that's fair. That's fair. I think it's just one of those things that you kind of have to ask yourself the question: is this something that could have a much grander impact? And I guess, and you're right. Who knows? Who knows? Any final thoughts there, sir?
Oh.
Well, in that particular case then, folks, until next week, that is going to be it for our coverage of SD2. And until then, I'm Conover.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.